This car's weird. The engine's in the back, which means it's hard to keep it cool. So in this episode of Nugget Project, we're going to add some fans. Welcome back, friends. So in the last episode we made a radiator shroud, fan shroud for the radiator up the front of the car, and now we're looking at the back of the car. So obviously this car is rear engine. You've got a little engine sitting in here, you've got a boot and all sorts, and with a traditional car you have air coming in through the radiator, and then that air pushes through the engine bay, dispersing all the heat, and then it goes out the scuttle panel or wherever to get rid of the heat. Obviously the radiator's up the front of the car, we don't get that push of air coming through the engine bay. So the AW11 has a vent in the side, which is quite iconic really. It's only on the driver's side for proper right-hand drive cars. In America, it's on the passenger side. And it uses this little fan here. So this is just a little electric fan, and that draws air in through there. So when you're in traffic and you're not moving, it draws air in through there, across the engine bay, and then the stock deck lid, as we call it, the hot air then goes out the deck lid. Now I'm running the supercharged deck lid, and this has only one vent on the left-hand side, which usually sits above the intercooler. Obviously I don't have an intercooler, and I'm not going to be running a supercharged or a turbo engine in this car. So what I'm going to do is run this guy. This is a MR2 fan from our friends at Raceworks. Very cool. This is a 10-inch fan, and it fits perfectly in our deck lid. But I do need to make a plate to actually make that sit in there properly and attach properly. Now this deck lid is made out of fiberglass, so I have to be careful. So I spoke to a friend of mine who, Nick Demopoulos, lovely guy, worked with him up at Falls Creek, and he deals with fiberglass a lot. He used to build surfboards and he's building combis, and he just knows fiberglass. So I said to him, what's the best way to do this? And he said, use aluminium nutserts, and then when you're finally ready to put the plate on, just use some bondings, like some seam seal or something, which will bond it there, and it will just even the load and pressure on it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, which is very cool. Thank you for the advice, Nick. So that is something I need to do today. The other thing is, because we're running this supercharged deck lid, usually it has a little bonnet stay that goes here and goes up to the side here. Unfortunately, on the supercharged one, that's on the other side. So I don't actually have one, and there's nowhere to fit it, and none of it works. So I measured up and I went online and I bought this. This is a little gas strut. Now we did do the gas struts on the front. I was nervous about doing it on the rear because it's fiberglass and I didn't want to put that pressure on it. But then I'm like, on the front I attached it to the hinge, not the actual bonnet. So I'm going to do the same here. So I've got to make up some brackets and attach it to the hinge, and then attach it to the strut tower, and then we can have a gas strut to hold up our deck lid, which is great because the boot has a spring-loaded hinge, so that holds itself up. The deck lid will have a gas strut, the front will have a gas strut, no more bonnet stays anywhere, which is great because I don't like them. I think they're dumb. Wicked. All right, so what to do first? Let's have a look at this, and we'll work on making a plate template out of cardboard, of course, our CAD design. So I have my template here that I use for the radiator shroud, which I don't need anymore. So we're going to cut that up and make a plate. And then I'm going to use my bead roller to actually indent it a little bit so the fan sits up a little bit higher into the deck lid. Utilize as much space in there as possible. So let's have a look at that now. Okay, so you can see here it's got these holes, and they were the holes that there's like a rubber seal. I don't know where it's gone, but there's a rubber seal for the intercooler. And they just pushed into those holes. So I'm going to reuse those holes because they're perfect, but I'll just have to drill them out a bit bigger to fit our nutsert. So we'll do that in a minute. And then I've got to work out the size of this. Luckily it is just a big square section, so it should be pretty easy. But I need to make it just a little bit bigger because I'm going to indent it. You can see how the whole vent actually sits up a bit higher. So I'm going to put it in the bead roller and see if I can bead roll a little indent. And then our fan should fit up in there nice and snug, which would be great. Look at that, that'd be cool. And basically what that'll do, did I just drop something? What that'll do is, as that fan on that side draws the air in across the engine bay, it'll come across the engine bay, all the heat, and then this one here will suck that hot air out, and it'll also suck in cold air from underneath the car. These fans are reversible, so they've got a little clip here, and you basically pop the clip off, actually spin the blade physically, and then put the clip back on, and then it changes it from a push to a pull fan. I've already done that on this one, so this one is good to go. How easy is that? And then I'll just have to run the cables down, and I'll make a neat little, actually got a connector there. I wonder if that's long enough. Oh, almost. We'll suss that out, but we'll work out the wiring later on. Speaking of wiring, I have something to show you. So since I'll be changing out the wiring harness and everything on this car, the little temperature sensor on the engine that kicks in that side fan won't exist anymore. So what I'm going to run is this. This is a Davies Craig fan controller. I actually run the same thing on my Sora because I run twin AU Falcon fans on that, and I got rid of the mechanical fan. So this here is a controller, really good, basically to set the temperature, and then this one has an ambient air probe. So I'll set up that probe in the engine bay, set the temperature. Once it gets too hot in the engine bay, in traffic or whatever, or out on track, it'll kick in both the fans. It actually staggers the fans, so one kicks in before the other, so it doesn't overload the electrical system, trying to boot up two fans at once. And then it runs the fans for about 5 to 6 seconds after you shut the ignition off. It's a really cool piece of kit. It's very easy to set up. I also needed a housing for this, so I designed this guy. I designed this on CAD and 3D printed it, and it has a little push lock release. So you pop that, and then that is a box where that controller sits in perfectly. The wires just tuck on the outside, like that, and then that closes, push locks, and then obviously I'll wrap all those wires in some Tessa tape or whatever. But yeah, neat little box to keep all our electronics safe and out of harm's way. How cool is that? I made one of these for my mate Kian too from Street Machine, because we both bought the fan controllers at the same time. He's putting one in his S13 Sylvia. So yeah, I've made one for him too. How cool is that? .330 by 360. All right. I don't think I even need my CAD for that. I can just put it on a piece of metal and make that shape. Pants are getting hot. A square. All right, there's our shape. So I've had to just cut this little divot out there because there's a little bit on the boot, on the deck lid, sorry, that needs that. Now, I pretty much need to make this central, I'm pretty sure. Mark it up, and then I'll need to bead roll as close to that as possible to make it fit. Alrighty, I'm getting my money's worth out of this thing now. This is great. As I said, I think I paid $350 for this from Hare & Forbes, full retail, and the only thing I bought extra was these dies for the big beads in the floor of the MR2. Otherwise, it comes with a bunch of beads. Really should be bolted down, would definitely work better. I kind of feel like it needs to be on a big, I think even just a big wooden thing where I can stand on it and use it. One day, I don't know. And they do motor kits for these, and it would be way better with a motor and a foot pedal, and you could really shape metal. If you're using it a lot, I would 100% do that. I think my mate Sean Alexander over in South Australia, he's got the same one. I think he said he used a windscreen wiper motor. This is pretty cool. Run 12 volt and then just run an inverter or something like that, I don't know. Anyway, look, I don't know how much more I'll use it after doing this car, but it's a cool thing to have, love it. So I've just got to make sure the dies are the right way around, because I need to push down. I want to push that up, the middle section down, the outside up. which, if I do it that way, I've got enough room to spin. Oh, I do. It's a mistake I made with the other one. All right, let's give this a go. See what we can come up with. That's now got a good indent, which will make it sit up in that recess a bit better. It's all a little bit bent now, but it's all right, we'll get it straight again. Right, let's go drill some holes for some nutserts. Mark out where those holes go into here, drill that. Mark some other holes, cut this, do that, make it happen. Okay, so there we go. Bunch of nutserts. They went in really nicely, which is great. So now let's make this plate fit. Okay, now I've got everything measured up. To make life easier, I'm going to take this deck lid off so I can actually work on it. We'll lay it down on here, we'll put a rag over here, and yeah, make life a bit easier for ourselves because it's really hard working upside down. Sweet as. So now, transfer over where those holes are onto this plate. Okay, something like that. Oh, let's watch some holes in this thing. See if we can bolt it on. And then we're going to get rid of this big circle, which is no fun. Alright, have a look. Cool. Yeah, the holes line up. Alright, where's our fan? Thing of beauty. Alright. Let's mark some holes. Okay, now the unfun part. Cutting this hole. Okay, we have a circle. It's not perfectly round, but the fan's going to hide that anyway, so it's not a big problem. Anyway, let's weld some captive nuts on the back of this, and that's pretty much this done. So, very simple, but should do the trick. All right, let's test fit this thing. See if it all fits. Now it's all drilled and welded up. Hasn't added too much weight to it, which is good. It's better, okay. Beautiful, how good's that? That's awesome. So now I know that's working all properly. I'll take that off, give it a coat of black paint, and I'm calling that job done. So now we need to get rid of this stick. So let's work on a gas strut from here to here. Okay, so basically I want this to hook up to there-ish. So what I think I'll do is I'll make a bracket that kind of curves around and comes out with a right angle, and then I can weld a nut in the back of that, and that can be the support for it. And I'll bring it all the way over here, and then I can weld it along here and just make it all nice and strong. So I guess the first thing I need to do is get the cardboard out and make a little template. Okay, something like that. Cool, it's got some flat bar. Unfortunately it's galvanized, that's all they had at the shop at the time, but that's okay. I will strip it all back. Okay, luckily I just checked, because when this closes down, it actually hits the water channel for the boot. So I'm gonna have to cut that part of it out. It'll still work. Yeah, I just need to cut a little bit of this out, and that bit will be where I bolt a thingamabob on, but glad I checked. All right, let's grind this bit off. Okay, so I've got a nut bolted on there. It's a bit of an old one. I've run out of all the new ones that are non-stainless, because I can't weld stainless. So I'll weld that on, and we'll strip back the bracket, and we'll weld this onto the car. Hi. Let's weld it. Okay, that's all welded on. This thing's hotter than Millicunas at the moment, so I'm not going to touch it. The weld on the bottom's a bit manky, but I'll give that a clean up with the flappy disc, but it'll be super strong. So now I've just got to figure out where the hell to mount this strut. So I've got the strut here. Now I want the boot to be like almost vertical. So I kind of want it to be about there. So I just had a quick play then, and I've made up this little template. I'm thinking about putting that there. So I use my 40mm flat bar, bend up something like that, weld that on, and then I'll just make a little section to fill in that gap at the top so it doesn't look so manky. Just use a little bit of 1mm, and then give that all a clean up, and yeah, it should look all right. Something does bolt on here, I don't know what, but to be honest, nearly everything in this engine bay is going to change anyway, because completely different engine, so if that doesn't fit, I'll just move it somewhere else. Anyway, let's go and cut one of these and bend it up. See if we can make it fit there. Weld the sucker in. Whoa. Sick. How good's that? Cool. That thread's a bit long. I'll have to cut that down, but so good. All right, let's weld the rest of this in. Okay, that's all cleaned up and I've just put a lack of paint on it. And this guy, I just boxed in, well, camera focus, I just boxed in the top, just a bit of 1 mil. But yeah, I think that looks okay. I'll do the trick. So once that's dry, we'll stick the strut back in, give it a test. But I reckon I'm gonna put the lid back on with our new fan and everything, and we'll just see how the whole thing looks together. Alrighty guys, so we're all done and pretty stoked. Not gonna lie, like that fan has worked out really well. It's pretty much exactly how I imagined it. Now for the MR2 guys, don't stress, I am gonna put a tray underneath this. So I'm basically gonna make a tray size of the fan with a drain tube that'll drain off down there. So when the car's parked, if it rains or I'm washing it or whatever, the water won't come here through the fan and onto the battery or whatever else is gonna be there with the new engine. It will have a drainage tube and still have all the space around the outside to draw the hot air out. So, but I'm waiting till I've got the new engine so I can kind of see what's underneath it and all that sort of stuff. The gas strut works freaking awesome. I'm stoked. So yeah, it just closes up well and holds the weight easily. It's great. The only thing that might be a problem is the roof spoiler. I thought about that afterwards. If the roof spoiler is too far out and it does hit, that's not a problem. I'll just get a gas strut that's 20 mil short or whatever. You can buy them in all sorts of different sizes, so it's not the end of the world. If that is a problem, I'll just get a 10, 20 mil shorter one, and that'll just bring that back to sort of there, and then no problems. So that's great, awesome. Hey, thanks for watching guys. We're not getting a ton of views on these videos, but I'm still plugging away at it because I'm gonna build this car regardless, and for the people that are watching, thank you. And I want to see this all the way through so you get to see this car finished, out on track, on adventures, doing all this fun stuff. And I do enjoy doing it, but it does slow me down a lot filming and trying to do all this. So yeah, we'll kind of reassess the channel at the end of this and just see where we are. But you know, if the views aren't there, then I think I'll work on cars a lot quicker without filming and just film stuff that I want to do, like adventures and races and stuff like that. So, but yeah, if you aren't subscribed, do subscribe please, and do notification bells and that sort of stuff, because it does give me a bit of more enthusiasm to make videos, because it is a lot of work and I do this for a living. And so when I get home from work and I've been filming and editing all week, it's very hard to kind of motivate myself to film and edit on my days off too. So anyway, thanks for watching guys. We'll see you in the next episode, which I think might be paint prep, which is very exciting. I'm just waiting for a few things to come, and then we're gonna sand this whole thing down, body filler, and then as soon as the weather cleans up, we're gonna get out there and paint it. I'm so excited for you guys to see the paint job I've got planned for this car, because I think it'll be mint. All right, thanks for watching guys. We'll see you in the next video.